Is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, where the Kubal Co-Works is as well, where you can go to the podcasting headquarters and do your show, as well as have them edit your video and audio for you. And, of course, you can rent out space for your business if you need to have a place to have some quiet time and, go handle your phone calls and whatnot, and just, have a little office for yourself. You can go out and do that at Kubal Co-Works, also right there at 208 North Townsend Street. And you can go to 401 South Salina Street for another location in Syracuse, as well as inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital and out in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street. So make sure you do that as well and continue to support local. I want to thank all of our beautiful partners here in Central and Upstate New York as we get ready to talk about a bunch of things in the football world. I first want to thank Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, as well as Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, the Millhouse Market, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. It is that time where Mr. Sofka and I call home the Fantasy Football Power Hour. The topics of today, there's two of them, the NFL schedule release, as well as taking a look at the draft based on the colleges and universities where players came from. So, with that being said, a deeper, unique look at the draft, as well as a look into the NFL schedule as it comes to us this morning. Mr. Sofka, welcome to the broadcast. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Dan?
Doing well. So we're inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub every Wednesday between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And it is here with you from the Wildcat on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Open 7 days a week to dine in. You can also order takeout and delivery by calling 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat. So a lot of great stuff here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and from the Wildcat Sports Pub that we appreciate so much. So, Mr. Sofka, the NFL schedule is being released as we speak. What are your thoughts on the opening game being the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are the reigning Super Bowl champions? Dak Prescott coming back from injury to face off against Tom Brady.
Oh, I like it. Sounds like a good matchup. I hope we're able to, fill the stadium. I hope people are able to attend the game and things can get, back to what we remember them as, football. So, it's always nice when you win the Super Bowl and you can host that opening game. It kind of, I think it's an advantage to a Super Bowl winning team to play right away, play that first game, because you're only as good as the last game you played. Most everybody loses their last game of the season in regards to teams that make the playoffs anyway. So it's interesting. I hope that, all the stars are available and healthy and nobody gets injured or anything before the game on both sides. And, here you got a guy in Brady that's won more Super Bowls than any other individual, and he's going up against another storied franchise that's won 5 Super Bowls. So it's going to be interesting. Now, here's my question. What if Dallas comes to Tampa and wins? How does that set for the NFL? Is that them with a loud thunder saying, we're back, we're arrived, this is it, we're back to being America's team? And from the other side, you got Brady. And Brady, I think, is just going to be cool as a cucumber, and he's going to do what they got to do to methodically march the ball down the field and rely on that strong defensive line like we saw in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's really cool is, you get to see Tom Brady and the reigning national champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but you get to see the return of Dak Prescott. So, I think that's the cool thing here is not only is he coming back from injury, but during the injury, there was the question of what are the Cowboys going to do with him? Is Jerry Jones going to pay him? Are they going to do right by him? Are they going to keep putting him in a situation where he's, this temporary franchise tag guy? What are they going to do? I love the fact I love that we get to see this team with the future being Dak Prescott. That means a lot to me. And so to be able to see that happen is really cool. And to see that happen in the first game of the season is awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm ecstatic about it. I'm kind of more excited to see Dak than I am to see Tom. I mean, I respect Tom, but I'm just ecstatic to that Dak gets to come back in prime time. He gets to usher the NFL back. It's almost like the NFL's doing right by him. Like, they're like, okay, you know what? It didn't feel like, the Cowboys were really doing right by this guy, and now they're doing right by this guy, and now we want to do right by him. I just think it's awesome to put him under the spotlight, and, I think it's a great matchup. I mean, what an amazing way to usher in the season, to have this situation of Dak Prescott returning, Tom Brady, and the Bucs trying to win another Super Bowl. Like, that to me is just a really, really cool return. I think the NFL got it right. I mean, do you feel like they got it right? You've chosen to not do what a lot of people do in the rat race, which is just find purpose in life. How does that make you feel when you go to sleep at night?
Game, so all eyes will be on it. All the other players, that's why guys like playing in primetime games. The rest of the league is watching you. You're putting yourself on. Maybe you're one of those tweener guys, or maybe you're one of those guys that's trying to take his game to the next level. You're going to put some stuff on tape. So, you can't replace the opportunity to put some stuff on tape. And when all eyes are on you, you got to shine. These guys aren't above or below these big games, these kickoff games, these primetime games. They've all played in front of, huge crowds, tense situations and so forth, probably most of their career, when you consider a lot of these guys are probably on good football teams in high school as well. So it's just interesting to start the year with the Cowboys at the Bucs. Again, I hope they're firing the cannons. I hope it's a capacity crowd, but I'm also interested in seeing how Dak, like you had mentioned, how Dak is going to be able to respond, how Dak is going to be able to control that offense versus that Tampa Bay front. That Tampa Bay defensive line is no joke. I mean, they can get after it, and that's what happened in the Super Bowl last year against Kansas City. Kansas City was having problems with their offensive line. Tampa was a team that had a dominant defensive line, and they opened things up for their linebackers to be able to make tackles. They opened things back up for the secondary. So it's not going to be an easy match for Dak and company. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great matchup, and hopefully the Cowboys can hang with the Bucs in this game. Hopefully this is something that is going to turn out to be a competition, because I'm looking at it from the sense of Dak's going to come out there and sling away, and it's going to be real deal football. But, that's what I'm hoping for, because the Bucs could come out here and make it a 30-3 game, and nobody wants to see that as the first game of the season. I mean, if you're a Bucs fan, sure, but, typical fans of sports in general, you want to see a good game. So it looks like...
Are you calling your shot? Are you saying that's going to be a blowout by Tampa? Are you telling us something now?
I'm telling you that, in my opinion, it could go that way, and I don't want it to. I want 28-23, but if Dallas comes out and is unable to perform against this team and it gets ugly, that nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see that.
I thought you were doing the Babe Ruth calling your shot thing.
Like, to me, I'm not calling backboard on this one. Like, I want to see this be a real game, and I hope that it is. And we know that the NFL has taken a swing and a miss before. And speaking of a swing and a miss, Mr. Sofka, I would love to talk with you about the fact that the NFL decided that the first Sunday night football game is going to be the Chicago Bears at the LA Rams. I feel like this is a pretty well put together swing and a miss. What do you think?
Actually, I don't. I think there's some question marks. There's some question marks as to see who's going to start at quarterback. I'm interested to see that. Is it going to be Dalton? Is it going to be Foles? Is Justin Fields going to take the helm? Matt Stafford, new quarterback with the Rams. So it's intriguing to me as well. It's kind of like springtime for the NFL. That first week, everybody is undefeated. Everybody still has a chance to go to the Super Bowl, so all fan bases should be excited. But especially when you have these changes, when you have these quarterback questions, that to me makes the whole thing interesting. Who's going to start, how they're going to do in their new surroundings.
Well, the thing that's really funny is that the Chicago Bears playing the LA Rams means that Chicago is playing a quarterback they know very well in Matt Stafford. So, I mean, it's the first game that we're going to see Matt Stafford as a Ram. So that's good. But Chicago's only got 47 different quarterbacks. I mean, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're making this happen, they're making that happen, and I'm bringing up the schedule right now so people can see it on YouTube and on Facebook. But, and pardon me, I brought up the draft order by mistake here. Pardon on that one. But the NFL schedule release, taking a look at this and, what it looks like for week 1 inside of the NFL, Chicago Rams kind of bores me. I'm excited to see Matt Stafford in a New Jersey. I'm excited for. Are we going to see Justin Fields? Probably not. Probably going to see Andy Dalton, I would imagine, as of this point. But, I mean, Arizona at Tennessee, I would have watched that on Sunday night. Cleveland at Kansas City, when Cleveland actually pushed Kansas City in the past, very recently, I would have loved to see that. The Jets at Carolina, for goodness sakes, getting to see Sam Darnold play the team that spurned him, I would have liked to see that, And so I just... It's underwhelming to me that this is the game that we get. I mean, Pittsburgh and Buffalo. I would have liked to see that. I just feel like there were better choices in week 1.
Yeah, well, yeah, again, I think the Chicago thing's intriguing to me because of Justin Fields. The guy's always been a winner. He was one of the top high school quarterbacks, Elite 11, coming out into college. Got the injury at Georgia. Was thought to be the savior at Georgia. Finally put Georgia over the top in the SEC. He gets injured, and the rest is history. There's a change of quarterback, and he goes to Ohio State. Here's my reason. Here's why it's so compelling to me. There's a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks get drafted high. But where are they now? What have they done? I'm going to throw out a few names at you, and you can understand where I'm coming from. These are highly touted guys. Oh, from Ohio State. Oh, they're a great quarterback. How about Dwayne Haskins? Where is he right now? How about Cardell Jones? Where is he? How about Terrell Pryor? Where is he? I mean, there's a bunch of guys you could go back and talk about.
Braxton Miller, too.
Even Troy Smith. Where are these guys?
Yeah.
So, to me, I want to see, does that make Justin Fields the real deal? Is he any different, or is he just one of the same from Ohio State? Well, he's got a grizzly veteran in front of him in the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, and then Nick Foles, the forever overpaid, guy on the sideline holding the clipboard, the most popular guy on the team, the backup quarterback with the fans. So, you know what? I think that if Justin Fields is almost on the same level as an Andy Dalton or as a Nick Foles, which I don't think he will be, but if he is, you go ahead and you start him. Or maybe you see how the season starts out, or maybe you see how game situations are and put him in for a series or two if you're getting blown out or if you're blowing somebody out. So, you got to get these guys reps when they're young, when they're new. These guys need reps. And the opposite thing is true for Matt Stafford on the other side of the ball. He's going to have to get more timing down. He's got an outstanding wide receiver core, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, and Robert Woods. Cam Akers looking to light it on fire this year. Is Matt Stafford the only missing piece on that offense? Are we going to see Jalen Ramsey giving a lot of lip to the receivers on the other side for Chicago? So, there's a lot of interesting little storylines that'll creep up along the way here. So, yeah, I don't think it's a swing and a miss. I think they did well. I think, how can you not do well at the beginning of the season? Now, later on in the season, if so-and-so is 0-7 and the other team is 7-0, we're going to be going, I don't want to see this game.
Yeah, and that's... I mean, seeing these games now, I mean, it's going to say a lot. I mean, if I go right down the list of what everybody's seeing on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, and for those of you that are listening on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage as well as on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, I'm proud to, share this information with you and kind of, for those of you that can't see it that are listening, to tell you about it. Dallas at Tampa, we talked about it. There's a lot of value in it. Great. 1 o'clock games. Philadelphia and Atlanta. Philadelphia has Jalen Hurts' team now. Atlanta now has Kyle Pitts. So there's value in that game. I'm going to go through the games, Mike, and then I'll let you go through them as well and give your thoughts here. But to break down week 1 from my perspective, the positives of why I would watch Jalen Hurts, I want to see it. I want to see what Philly looks like now. That they're. I mean, think about what Philly's done. It was Carson Wentz, then it was Nick Foles because Wentz got injured, then it was Carson Wentz, now it's Jalen Hurts. Like in the last few years, they've just continued to give it to somebody else, either by injury or by choice. Atlanta has Kyle Pitts now. They have Kyle Pitts, they have Calvin Ridley, they have Julio Jones. What is that going to look like? And is Matty Ryan still going to be able to sling it? You know, Matty Ice has done a great job over his career, but how much longer does he have? Pittsburgh at Buffalo. This could be, signs of a playoff game. Pittsburgh let James Conner go. One of the dumbest ideas I ever thought ever for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Stupid. I know that they have a bunch of young guys. I understand that. But James Conner's he's just a different type of breed. He's a different type. I mean, this is a guy that was fantasy football, giving people a bunch of points. This is a guy in reality that, filled in for Le'Veon Bell. And this is what I don't like about things that happen in sports. The guy that bails you out, the woman that bails you out in whatever sport, they let him go sometimes. Desmond Howard is a kick returner. He does a fantastic job in the Super Bowl. I remember exactly where I was sitting. They let him go right after that. The Green Bay Packers had him. He's the Super Bowl MVP. He goes to the Lions. So Pittsburgh letting James Conner go, I'm not saying he's the Super Bowl MVP. I'm saying he could be. And I don't like the fact that they did that because I think they're going to rue the day that they did it. I understand they have a lot of talent, and I understand that they don't deal with prima donnas. I don't think James Conner is a prima donna. This is a man who told his coach, Pat Narduzzi, hey, coach, I have cancer. I'm going to go beat it, and I'll be back at practice when I beat it. And then he did, which is insane. So Pittsburgh, I want to see what they look like. I want to see what this is going to be because Big Ben. I'm wondering when the bell's going to toll on Big Ben. When is that gong going to happen? When are we going to hear that final tick and that final bell for him in the NFL? Buffalo's got a ton of talent. I look at this game and I would have picked Pittsburgh a million times, but Buffalo can beat anybody, and I love seeing them in this place right now. The Jets playing up against Carolina. The Jets blamed Mark Sanchez. The Jets blamed Tim Tebow. The Jets didn't do right by Tebow. Every time they brought him in, they knew they were running the ball. Every time you can't run Wildcat option offenses and do the same thing every time because then as soon as Tebow goes in, they know what's going to happen. So, the Jets didn't do right by him. They made Mark Sanchez the sacrificial lamb. They made Sam Darnold the sacrificial lamb. And I'm not proud of that. I don't think the Jets do things right. And I hope to goodness that Zach Wilson's different. But Zach Wilson is going to be going, I would think, up against Sam Darnold of Carolina because Carolina already let go of Teddy Bridgewater. So that game has a lot of interest to me, probably more so than it's had in years. Minnesota, I like watching Dalvin Cook, but I'm paying more attention to Cincinnati. The return of Joe Burrow. Cincinnati just gave my guy Eric Dungy a chance out of Syracuse that I talked with Rex Culpepper about. Go back and watch Tea with Rex on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on facebook.com/livenowdt and facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. So I'm excited to see Thaddeus Moss, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow all in Cincinnati. That's going to be fun to see LSU there. San Fran, what's going to happen with their guy Trey Lance? And Jared Goff is going to be under center for Detroit. And Detroit's top 3 receivers aren't there anymore. So no Galladay, no Marvin Jones Jr., no Golden Tate. What's that going to look like? Jacksonville and Houston, always a big-time game, but this is Trevor Lawrence's first game. So this is going to be cool. Houston's trying to figure things out. What's it going to look like? Deshaun Watson has had a hell of an offseason, and Houston and him don't seem like they see eye to eye. So, and it's funny how Houston's logo's got a star in the eye because I don't think they're a star in either one of each other's eyes right now. But this is the coming of Trevor Lawrence. This is the Travis Etienne. Where does James Robinson fit in? How does this team look? Is Jacksonville out of the gate a dangerous team, or is their growl kind of a purr right now? We'll see. Russell Wilson, there was the thought that he might leave Seattle. Now he's going and playing up against the Colts. What's that going to look like? Are the Colts going to be competitive? Are they going to put up anything, or is Seattle just going to push them? Arizona has brought in talent and continue to bring guys. They have A.J. Green. They have DeAndre Hopkins. What are the Cardinals going to look like when they play the Titans, who are a team that's been bolstering up their defense? The Chargers, Justin Herbert, now this is his team. It became his team quickly last year. And now here he is again where it is his team at the beginning of the season. Washington football team, who's their guy? Who's their quarterback? Is it Fitzmagic at 115 years old? What's it going to be? Cleveland at Kansas City? Oh, God. I love this game. This game should have been Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, without question. The Dolphins, Tua, going up against Mac Jones? Bama versus Bama? That could happen. Green Bay? Is Aaron Rodgers going to be there? Guess who's not going to be there on the other side? Drew Brees. He retired. Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston going up against the Green Bay Packers. What's that going to look like? Are they going to use them both? The Denver Broncos trying to figure things out in their world. The Giants adding to their team and getting weapons. Kadarius Toney's out there for Daniel Jones now. Saquon Barkley's making a comeback. Chicago is going to have one of their 15 billion quarterbacks make a start. And we're going to see Matt Stafford in Rams gold and blue. And then on Monday Night Football, we get to see the Ravens play the Vegas Raiders in that spaceship. And the Raiders made things really interesting. The Raiders beat the Chiefs last year. So what is this going to look like with Baltimore? Is Lamar Jackson going to have a nice start to his season? Is he going to continue to impress, or is he going to struggle? And what are the Raiders going to look like? And are they going to be competitive this year? There's so much to be had in this schedule, Mike, that there's a storyline everywhere. And if anybody's going to create a storyline that nobody else does or doesn't even think of, Mike and I are going to do it. We're going to find the glass half full in every nook and cranny of the world, because that's what we do here. That's who we are. Mike, what are your thoughts as you go down the list of week one?
Well, we talked about the Bucs and the Cowboys already. I am interested to see the high-flying Philadelphia Eagles with their speed at receiver. I mean, they doubled down, picking up Devonta Smith, and they already had Jalen Reagor from last year, and now Jalen Hurts going to take the field, but kind of pairs him back up. He's played with Devonta Smith before, so this is going to be an interesting thing. And how about Atlanta? Kyle Pitts, I think he would have been the number one player selected overall if there wasn't quarterback-needy teams at the top, because he's such a freak, way off the charts. I included him in the adjusted explosive index I did with the wide receivers this year, so it's interesting to see where he lines up compared to the other receivers, because I think Kyle Pitts is a receiver. Let me ask you this. Do you know who Atlanta took as a quarterback late in the draft? It was Felipe Franks. That's who they picked up. Are they going to reunite him with Kyle Pitts? He's very lanky and tall like Matty Ice. What if Matty Ice goes down? Felipe Franks could be repaired with Kyle Pitts. That could be a shootout. Maybe then that'll turn up Hayden Hurst as well. Maybe something good will happen there. Atlanta will need some help out of the backfield, and we're going to see Miles Sanders for the Eagles. The Steelers, getting rid of Connor, I could see it, not see it. I could see both sides of it. He had some dings and injuries. He does have some tread left on the tires, but not as much as you would like. In Buffalo, they're my early pick to possibly go to the Super Bowl, at least the AFC Championship. This is a team that I like a lot. They've improved a lot. So Pittsburgh, Buffalo, what a matchup week one. And then you mentioned it before, Darnold at Carolina, and now the Jets coming to town with the new quarterback, Zach Wilson. I'm excited to see all the rookies. Man, if you were taken in the first round, I want to see you week one, and I probably will see you week one, because that's why you were drafted in the first round. You look at Minnesota. Is Dalvin Cook going to start the year and finish the year totally healthy? You look at Cincinnati. I think they did something smart. They got Jamar Chase, maybe the best wide receiver in the class. He's got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd there, Joe Mixon. It's just going to be something else to see the Bengals. That's interesting to me. San Fran, And the Lions, you're right. The Lions did jettison their top receivers. San Fran has a lot of talent on that team. I'm wondering who's going to be the running back. Is it going to be Trey Sermon? Talks are they're going to release Raheem Mostert before the season even starts. So that would be interesting. And then the Jags, are they really going to sign Tebow? Is Tebow really going to be a tight end on the Jags? I can't say. I mean, they're going to sign him today, supposedly. But at the same time, it's interesting because he's got Trevor Lawrence there. And is he really being brought in to be on the shoulder? Like, you know how you have the little angel and the little devil on each shoulder telling you what to do or not do all the time? They only have the angel, and that's Tim Tebow. Maybe that's why he's there, because he's familiar with Urban Meyer. He's familiar with the system. He can kind of help along Trevor Lawrence. Not that he needs it, but it's always good to have that security of a blankie. When you were a little kid, you had a little blanket or something you held onto, or a little teddy bear or something. That's the same thing. Now, they're going to Houston that first game, but Houston doesn't have J.J. Watt anymore. Jadeveon Clowney, that line doesn't impress me yet. So maybe the Jaguars pick up a key division win on the road. And then you got Seattle and Indianapolis. Indianapolis, they have a new quarterback in Carson Wentz. Oh, their coach is Frank Wright. Frank Wright and Carson Wentz have been to a Super Bowl together. This could be a rebirth for Carson Wentz. And Russell Wilson, you expect nothing but the best out of Russell Wilson all the time, and that's usually what you get. And with Seattle's new weapons, first of all, they had DK Metcalf, who just ran against Olympic athletes in a sprint. That was something to watch. Then you got Tyler Lockett, and you got the rookie Dwayne Eskridge in the slot. I'm very interested to see the performance of Dwayne Eskridge. Is Chris Carson going to be able to stay healthy this year? You flip over to the next game with Arizona and the Titans. Look, Arizona doesn't seem to be very far off the pace. They look like they're a team to be reckoned with. A.J. Green, DeAndre Hopkins. They drafted Rondell Moore. Chase Edmonds, there's your James Conner right there. Those guys will split the load. They have some big names on defense as well with Zach Allen, J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, Isaiah Simmons. I mean, these guys are all freaks of nature. Buda Baker. This is going to be a very good game. I look forward to that one because Tennessee usually plays that smash mouth football with Derrick Henry. So it'd be interesting to see how that Arizona defense stacks up in Tennessee. You got the Chargers at Washington, the football team. You know, there's new people on all these teams, and Washington especially. I want to know who's going to run the ball. They have 150 running backs: Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissic, Peyton Barber, Lamar Miller. They got some big names, but you know, I haven't seen much. What I did see was Antonio Gibson do a great job his rookie year, and hopefully he can stay healthy. J.D. McKissic is your PPR guy, though. He's the ball hawk. He's the ball catcher out of that backfield. And Justin Herbert, is he gonna have a continuation of where he left off? Outstanding performance by the rookie who was tapped on the shoulder 10 minutes before kickoff in week 1 last year and told, hey, you're the starter. So, I mean, that just goes to show you better have your act together because you never know when it's going to happen. Cleveland and Kansas City. I like what Cleveland's done. Cleveland's beefed up their defense some more. They drafted Greg Newsom, built up that secondary. He's going to play back there with Grant Delpit, John Johnson. I like that secondary a lot. But now they bring in Clowney to put pressure on the quarterback. Oh, and who's on the other side of that line? Myles Garrett. So that bolsters that back end even more because they're able to get a lot better pressure on the quarterback. I want to see Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt split the ball again. I want to see Jarvis Landry. Do I want to see Odell Beckham? I don't know if I want to see Odell Beckham. This guy constantly disappoints with injuries if he's not, you know, asking the punter's net to marry him. But I like Cleveland's. I like Cleveland's opportunity this year, and they're going to be tested in week 1. That's not an easy draw to go into Kansas City. And Kansas City, what more can you say about them? They've had some changes on offensive line, but I think they're going to recover nicely from that. Look at the speed they got at receiver. Tyreek Hill, McCole Hardman. This is a fast team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Wow, I hope everybody stays healthy there because I really want to see Patrick Mahomes light it up this year, and that's going to be an outstanding game in week 1. Is Mahomes going to be able to outrun that defensive front from the Browns? Miami going to New England. This is always a good game. Miami and the Jets in New England. It doesn't matter what the records are. It doesn't matter what the line is. These games usually come down to a single possession, and it's a great draw for Miami to go to New England early in the year rather than go in December or sometime like that when there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. Green Bay and the Saints. Are we going to see Aaron Rodgers in this game? If we do see Aaron Rodgers in this game, which uniform is he going to be wearing? Is he going to be a Saint? Is he going to be a Green Bay Packer? So that's an interesting storyline. Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers on the Saints? You pair him up with Michael Thomas. That's like where he was with Devontae Adams. Alvin Kamara. Well, I think Alvin Kamara is a little bit better than Aaron Jones, so I like the running back situation a little better there. I like the defensive situation a little better in New Orleans. So there's something to offer there. So that's an interesting storyline. Denver, that's another team who maybe we see Aaron Rodgers playing. Maybe we see Aaron Rodgers playing for the Denver Broncos, and they face off against the Giants. Now, the Giants have something interesting in Saquon Barkley. That guy is a stud. That guy's a player. You already know that. Is Daniel Jones going to be able to pick this team up finally? Are they going to be able to take it to the next level? They added Kenny Galladay. They got Darius Slayton back. John Ross, super fast. They added Kadarius Toney in the draft. So a lot of speed at receiver. They got the great running back. So it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. And then Sunday Night Football, Week 1, the Bears and the Rams. Like I said before, I want to see if Justin Fields is going to be out there. And I want to see Matt Stafford. I want to see that matchup. That's going to be very interesting to me. Lots of talent on both sides of the ball. Can they take their games to the next level? And then Monday Night Football, what's not to like about the Raiders and John Gruden? Well, Baltimore's coming to town, and they're not going to lay down. And Lamar Jackson and company, they're going to be some trouble for you. So I hope that the Raiders are ready. I hope it's a good game. I have a feeling Lamar Jackson can just go in there and walk all over them. J.K. Dobbins, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Sammy Watkins. Now they just drafted Rashad Bateman. And, they're loaded on defense as well, the Ravens are. And the Raiders have been trying to beef up their defense. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can contain Lamar Jackson in that game. I can't wait for the first Monday Night Football matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Once again, folks, this is a look at NFL Week 1. Today is May 12th. This is the day of the NFL's 2021-2022 schedule release, and you are getting it here as it happened this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That is what it looks like. Cowboys at Bucks, Eagles at Falcons, Steelers at Bills, Jets at Panthers, Vikings at Bengals, Niners at Lions, Jaguars at Texans, Seahawks at Colts, Cardinals at Titans, Chargers at, I don't want to say it, and please just frickin' get a team name. Chargers at Football Team. It's like when you created your own team, you customized your own team on Madden in the past, and in Madden, like, you could see it, but like the announcer didn't know what to call it, and John Madden called, hey, it was a football team. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. So I don't like it. Get a football name.
Hey, it's kind of like when you're signing up for a fantasy team on a league or on a platform you haven't been in. You're filling it out, and as you're putting in your information for the league page and for your profile, it comes up. Dan's team.
Yeah.
Mike's team. It sounds like this is a new franchise or something.
It's ridiculous. Washington Football Team, get a name. Now, do it. Browns at Chiefs, Dolphins at Patriots, Packers at Saints, Broncos at Giants, Bears at Rams, and the Ravens at the Raiders. So, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll talk about them London games as well as the NFL Draft coming to you by college and university. We're going to break down the draft and tell you where everybody came from. So, we'll be kind of giving you an inside look at who had the most. Some of them are not going to surprise you. And some underlying thoughts that come from the fact of where people came from and how that connects back to college football and what we're typically used to seeing every single year. So, with that being said, we'll take a step aside inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's Cafe Kubal Studios. When we come back, Mike and I have plenty to share with you, and we will do so from the NFL Draft by college and university, as well as those London games that will be coming back, God willing, this season.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. And so we just plocked down in London town, and guess what, folks? The NFL is going back to London, which means the Jaguars are giving up a home game. That's, Jacksonville is the team that's been there more than anybody else, and they will be going back to London, and they will be taking another Floridian team with them. These are your games that will be played in London, folks. They are as follows. The Jets and the Falcons will be in London, and the Dolphins and the Jaguars. So we will see the Jets go up against the Atlanta Falcons in London, and that game will take... It's kind of interesting here to see these things going on right now. That game will be played October 10th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. October 10th, the Falcons and the Jets will be there, and a week later on October 17th, just 4 days before my birthday, at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the Dolphins will play up against the Jaguars. Mike, what do you think about the Jacksonville Jaguars giving up a home game yet again? And the fact that they will be playing the Dolphins and the Jets will be playing the Falcons in London.
Well, it's all about Shad Khan being a true businessman. Shad Khan, owns a stadium there in London, and there was time where it looked like the Jaguars may relocate to somewhere like London, but the NFL obviously just wasn't ready for a relocation of a team yet, especially internationally. So I think it's a great opportunity to put yourself on a worldwide stage, especially now. This is a great opportunity for European fans to be on the bandwagon or get on the bandwagon of the Jaguars. I would sacrifice a home game for the opportunity to play in London. You're going to play before a good crowd. It's an opportunity. Yeah, it's a hassle. Yeah, the travel and so forth. Yeah, it's stressful, but it is what it is. There's a lot of teams doing it now. They're going to do it a bunch of weeks every year. It's here to stay. It's here in the game. As the NFL becomes more international and more internationally friendly, and they actually show up in these other countries, it's something else. So, I feel bad for my brother. My brother's a Jaguar season ticket holder, and he has to give up a game every year, basically. But I also feel for him twice this year because his girlfriend's a rabid Dolphins fan, and he bought her season tickets. So now he may have to take her to London now for this game. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll let you know if that happens. Maybe we'll get a report from him if he ends up going to the game there. But, those games are unique. That game will be a 9:30 a.m. kickoff. So it's going to be unique to see that again. And, I don't mind getting up early on Sunday and, seeing the game early in the morning. That's fine with me. And then right after that game, you run into the full gamut of the full day's games, and then you end up with the night game. So I think it's great. I think it's awesome. And just think, when you're in LA, you don't have to wait till 4 o'clock for a game. You're going to have one closer to 1 o'clock, like the rest of the world, when these games are played in Europe at 9:30 in the morning.
It's going to be definitely great to see a return to London, and tough because the Jaguars losing that home game, but the NFL expanding to 17 games instead of 16 regular season games gives the opportunity that every other year you get an extra home game. So there is a benefit to that. Jacksonville fans that are used to losing a home game every year are actually going to get one back every other year. So it kind of, starts to hopefully play back into making people that are in Duval feel a little bit better about getting their game back at least once every 2 years. So that is a beautiful thing. Taking a look at the NFL draft by school, Mr. Sofka, it is no surprise that the Alabama Crimson Tide had brought together, they had 9 players drafted in this year's draft. The Ohio State Buckeyes had 10 players drafted in this year's draft. The Georgia Bulldogs had 9 players drafted in this year's draft. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the independent team for Eva, they also had 9 players drafted. What are your thoughts on this? The fact that Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame had the most players drafted in this year's draft. I mean, either 9 or 10. And, 3 out of those 4 we're used to seeing in the college football playoff. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama. Any surprise that the teams that we're used to seeing in the college football playoff are the ones sending the most to the NFL?
No, not at all. That's why they made it to the playoffs. These guys get the top athletes coming in. They sort them out, and you get the best of the best on the way out. Look at Alabama. Not only did they have 6 guys go in the first round, which is totally disgusting, but those 6 went in the top 24. So they went in the top 3/4 of that first round. And when you take a look at the talent that is going to the NFL, you're thinking, wow, Alabama's going to be thin next year. No, they're not. Just like Georgia, just like Florida, these teams in the SEC, these teams like Ohio State that seem to be around that college championship playoff scenario every year, these teams don't rebuild. They reload. That's the difference. When you can reload instead of rebuilding, you're going to continue to send NFL prospects to the NFL. Then you know what's going to happen when you're competing with Johnny Football's home state school when he's the most talented player in the state. You can tell him, hey, man, we send players to the NFL. We think you got what it takes to get to the NFL. You'll be on the biggest stages there is. You'll be in the college football championships, and then you'll be writing your own ticket and your own check to go to the NFL. So, hats off to these programs like Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Florida, all these schools that are able to send a lot of guys year after year after year. That's how you continue to be good. You know how you become good? Get good. And you know what you need to do? You need to stay good. So it's just like you and I in life, or anybody else in life. You got to wake up in the morning. You got to do your best, and that's what these guys got to do too. Do their best, but not all of them come around. Everybody thinks they're not Alabama, but look, it wasn't 100 guys taken like that on Alabama's team. It was 10 guys taken, but they were taken well. If I was a blue chip prospect, if I was coming out of high school and part of an Elite 11 quarterback, I would definitely be considering one of these 5 schools here: Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Florida. I would consider one of those schools. It would probably be the only schools I would look at, because I want to go to the NFL. I want to make the money. I want to take care of my family. A lot of these guys come from broken homes and bad situations. A lot of these guys have always been the best football player on their team, even through college. Is that going to keep up when you get to the NFL? Can you make it to the NFL? So you got to go to storied schools if you want a better shot at the NFL.
Yeah, and seeing this, like you mentioned, what Alabama was able to put together as far as who they sent, where they sent them. It's not just they sent players to the NFL. It's 6 guys in the first round is insane. Jalen Waddle, 6th overall. Patrick Surtain, 9th overall. Devontae Smith, 10th. Mac Jones, 15. Alex Leatherwood, 17. Najee Harris, 24. 6 guys in the first round, 6 in the top 24 of 32 picks, then 2 in the second round, 1 in the 6th. So a beautiful thing. Ohio State sent 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, and 1 in the 7th round. To take a look at them, Mike, your Florida Gators had 2 first-round picks. Atlanta took 4th overall Kyle Pitts. 20th overall, the Giants took Kadarius Toney after the trade with the Chicago Bears to go down from 11 to 20. Kyle Trask went to Tampa Bay to learn from Tom Brady and to stay in the state of Florida from Gainesville to Tampa, second round 64. In the 4th round, Marco Wilson went corner to Arizona. Place kicker Evan McPherson went to Cincinnati in the 5th round. Safety Sean Davis went to Indy in the 5th round. Defensive tackle Darryl Slayton went to Green Bay in the 5th round. And offensive tackle Stone Forsyth, one of the coolest names ever, went to Seattle in the 6th round. What do you think about your Gators sending 8 players in this year's draft, including 2 in the first round?
Well, obviously they're headlined by Kyle Pitts, who went number 4 overall to Atlanta. The speedster Kadarius Toney goes to the Giants. There's some people that are hit or miss on him, saying that he's a bust. I know the guy's short. I know the guy's fast. Just picture Tyreek Hill. Picture you're finding ways to get this cat the ball. Is he returning punts for you? Are you doing jet sweeps with him? Do you bring him in for some, special plays or gadget plays? Find ways to get him the ball in space. And I think Kyle Trask got an interesting pull there, where he's going to sit behind Tom Brady and the new Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Bucks. This is what Kyle Trask does. He goes in, no pressure, not the number 1 guy. Then the opportunity presents itself, and he makes himself known. That's what he does. The most interesting pick, I thought, though, was a kicker. Evan McPherson getting drafted in the 5th round, which I think is high for a kicker. But, hey, you got to have a good kicker. We've seen teams' seasons come down to it where they're out of it because their kicker can't make a kick. He has one job, make kicks. So I think Florida represented itself well. I think they're, again, just like these other teams, we're gonna be talking about guys like this and a list similar to this next year, because these teams reload.
And seeing all these schools, I'm taking a look at the list right now of the, and I'm going to put this up on wakeupcalldt.com as an article. But again, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame sending the most. Florida sending a bunch. Michigan sent 8, despite the fact that they struggled to win in their rivalry games and they struggled to lead the Big Ten under Jim Harbaugh. LSU ended up sending 7. Penn State sent 6. They sent 3 in the 7th round, but they did send 2 in the first, and Micah Parsons and Jason Owe. And they sent 1 in the second, and Pat Fryermuth, who went to the Steelers, which was a good pickup. UCF ended up sending 5. Pittsburgh sent 6 in this year's draft. BYU sent 5. Cincinnati sent 4. Clemson, how about this, Mike? Clemson only sent 5. Clemson receivers have not been translating. After DeAndre Hopkins, it's been kind of more quiet. But Trevor Lawrence went in the first round in Jacksonville. Travis Etienne Jr. also went to Jacksonville the first round. Cincinnati took offensive tackle Jackson Carman in the second round, 46th overall. Amari Rogers, wide receiver, went to Green Bay, 85th overall in the third round. And Cornell Powell, wide receiver, went to Kansas City in the 5th round, 181st overall. What are your thoughts on Clemson? They sent 2 guys early. two guys that could definitely make some hay in the NFL and be remembered as not just Clemson players but NFL players. But after that, it was kind of quiet for Clemson.
Well, it's going to happen. You're going to have ebbs and flows, and maybe some guys didn't get drafted, and they signed afterwards. That's a big game in the NFL. They'll contact players in the 6th or 7th round and go, "Hey, look, if you don't get drafted, we're really interested in signing you as an unrestricted free agent. Hopefully that'll work out." And these guys show up. But you're absolutely right. The translation from the college game to the NFL has been slow on the uptick for some receivers out of Clemson. For Jacksonville to take Trevor Lawrence and then ETN right behind him, it's almost like, wow, that's going to be something else. A guy you've been playing with for a couple of years, he's right there with you. And, I think one of the most notable, draft representations is the Northwestern. Northwestern had 2 guys drafted in the first round for the first time ever. Outstanding, great job by the coaching staff there, getting guys ready, getting guys exposure, getting guys to the point where they can play in the NFL. So if you get 2 guys taken in the first round, Northwestern, first of all, it's a tough school to get into. You have to be smart to get in there. But, if Northwestern can send 2 guys in the first round in the NFL, and I got an offer from them, I'm definitely going to consider them. I mean, offensive tackle Rashawn Slater went in the first round, and, again, so did Greg Newsome. And both of these guys are expected to start right away. So, again, hats off to Northwestern.
Yeah, Northwestern, great point that you brought up, Mike, that they were able to send guys to the NFL and send them early, sending Rashawn Slater, who we both had going to the Chargers, 13th overall in our mock draft. Greg Newsome, the second, going to Cleveland, also in the first round, 26th overall. And Ernest Brown going in the 5th round, 174th overall to the Rams. I do want to let everybody know there was 79 schools that were represented in this year's draft. And so pretty awesome to see that. Schools you may not know of. Schools like one of the ones down, Charleston, West Virginia, Concordia, St. Paul, so some of these schools that were able to send players. Interesting of note here, though, inside of the quote-unquote Power 5, Wake Forest only sent 1 player to the NFL this year. Buffalo took in the 2nd round their defensive end, Carlos Basham. So NC State only sent 1, and they've been able to send a lot under Dave Doran. In the 3rd round, the Lions took defensive tackle Aleem McNeil. Cal only sent 1 to Minnesota. The Vikings took cornerback Cameron Bynum in the 4th round. I was surprised Buffalo, the Bulls up here, only had 1 taken, and I know they're not in the quote-unquote Power 5, they're in the MAC, but edge rusher Malcolm Kuntz went in the 3rd round to the Raiders. Georgia Tech only sent 1 player, and it was a punter in the 7th round. Steelers took Presley Harvin in the 254th pick. Memphis only sent 1. We know Memphis has sent a lot of running backs in recent history. They did send a running back in this draft. A guy that we talked about, Kenneth Gainwell, he went in the 5th round to Philadelphia. So Memphis sending another running back to the NFL after Darrell Henderson and Antonio Gibson and company. But this gentleman going in the 5th round, the only player taken out of Memphis. And some of the other ones, Kansas State didn't have a draft pick until the 7th round. Defensive end Wyatt Hubert went to the Cincinnati Bengals, 235th overall. Jake Funk, the running back from Maryland, didn't go until the 7th round to the Rams at 233 overall. Baylor sent 1 player, William Bradley King, a linebacker, to the Washington football team in the 7th round at 240. Tulsa had a guy that I interviewed, Corey Taylor, the second, who I hope will get an opportunity. I mean, I think he'll find his way into the NFL at running back. But Zaven Collins was drafted 16th overall in the 1st round to the Cardinals, and then nothing after that, which was kind of sad to see. But, those are some of the teams that only had 1, and teams of note that had 1. Shout out to North Dakota State as well. Trey Lance goes 3rd overall in the 1st round. Their only other pick was in the 2nd round. 53rd overall, Tennessee Titans took offensive tackle Dylan Redunce. And I think that it's awesome to see that North Dakota State not only is sending players to the NFL, but the 2 players they sent were in the first 2 rounds. Kind of a more quiet day for Florida State. Asante Samuel went in the 2nd round. Then they had 2 4th-rounders and a 6th-rounder. Marvin Wilson, a former captain of the team, was undrafted and was picked up after the draft. So, Mike, there are some notable schools here that had a more quiet draft.
Yeah, well, one of the ones that I like is Quinn Miners, University of Wisconsin Whitewater. It's always good. This guy showed up to the Senior Bowl and made a name for himself. Immediately took over, a small school guy. He did a pre-planned thing. He's got a little belly on him, being an offensive lineman, and he rolled his shirt up like Ezekiel Elliott, and his belly was hanging out, and that's how he got known. That's how he had people starting to put eyeballs on him, and then he dominated everybody in Senior Bowl practice, and this was a great opportunity for him. And sure enough, he was able to parlay that, make the circuit, the talk show circuits, on with the talking heads, on with Good Morning Football and NFL Network. They were rooting for him. He was on several times, and then here he goes, drafted in the 3rd round by the Broncos. So it's outstanding. His videos are viral where he does these workouts up in the backwoods, like moving big logs and stuff like this, one of those old school strongman type things. So I think it's excellent when small school guys can make a name for themselves. It just goes to show you, it's like Dion used to say, if you ball, you're going to get the call. They're going to find you. You're going to find your way to the league if you deserve to be in the league. So, a lot of these guys, there's up-team stories, fairy tale stories and stuff, of guys who were overlooked, guys that didn't get the big name looks for some reason, guys that weren't graded out in high school as well, and they improved tremendously in college, or maybe they were in a situation which really exposed their talent that much more, took them to the next level. So I think it's outstanding when somebody from a small school can go to the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, and it shows that the NFL really finds talent all over the place. They scour and they look for talent, and they get them. I mean, there's the Abilene Christians of the world, and some of these other schools, like I mentioned, North Dakota State getting a lot of love. Schools that you may not think of, the Coastal Carolinas, the Concordia St. Paul's, the South Alabamas. You never know who's going to show up. UMass is an independent school. Another one. Wisconsin Whitewater had a 3rd round pick with offensive guard and center Quinn Miniers went there to the Denver Broncos at 98th overall. So there's something to be said about the Central Missouri, had a 5th round pick, and Zach Davidson, the tight end, went to the Minnesota Vikings. You never know. You may not know these names. They may not be household names, and they're going to go from names that you say, who? To names that you put on the back of your jerseys and you wear proudly when you watch the game in the comfort of your own home or when you are at the game itself. Marshall, 4th round, Dallas took offensive tackle Josh Ball. North Texas, 4th round, Tampa Bay took wide receiver Jaylon Darden. So you never know. Jacksonville out of UAB, a team that canceled their football program for a year, realized it was not the greatest decision. Defensive end Jordan Smith went to Jacksonville, 4th round, 121 overall, to help the defensive line's ability to be able to rotate and have depth. And he's going to the Jaguars, coming out of UAB in the 4th round. So there's a lot to be said about what the draft can do, and I think the NFL does a tremendous job at scouring the entire country and finding talent. If you're good, they'll find you. I want to believe that. And yeah, some people get lost in the cracks, but there are a lot of people that get taken. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and I am always hoping the best for everybody, including the people that I get to know so very well. So with that being said, the draft by the school, the NFL schedule release, a jam-packed conversation that I always have fun having with Mike Sofka inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly brought to you by the Wildcat Sports Pub, 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Open 7 days a week for indoor dining, as well as for takeout and delivery. You can call 315-487-2222. You can also call for catering and get information on that. 315-487-2222. Graduation parties, all types of get-togethers, draft parties, and so much more happen at the Wildcat. So whatever you got going on, bring it to the Wildcat, and let's have some fun together. And as always, I thank them for all they do for our Fantasy Football Power Hour every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, as well as having our drafts on-site on location. They're the longest-standing place that I've ever held fantasy football leagues, and I'm very much looking forward to having our 4 leagues converge on the Wildcat at the end of August this year. So we're already having people sign up and get ready. If you want to get in, go to dtstays@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know that you want in. As always, Mike Sofka, I appreciate you. I thank you. Hall of Fame Fantasy Football.com. Winning Fantasy Football group on Facebook. Thank you for your time and all that you bring to the table. Thank you for your fantasy football knowledge and wisdom and everything that you have done throughout the year to consistently be excited and give us something to talk about. You believed in me and put the work ethic in and believed in the NFL, and you and I did everything we could to get people ready for a year they didn't know they were going to have last year. And it was probably the greatest preparation that I've ever done. And now this year I look to, do even more with you. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your positivity. And thank you for being, a place that people can go to escape from, the troubles of the world and to really just do something fun and have something to look forward to. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity. And if you do head over to the site, HallOfFameFantasyFootball.com, I got a new product lineup. And Dan, you used one of my sheets, one of my cheat sheets last year. Did you like that? Did that work out for you?
Yeah, we loved it. It actually was a huge help to everybody, and I think darn near every single person there used it.
Well, that's great. You can pick one up if you're in a, different league or whatever. You can pick one up for $6 on my site, whether it's standard scoring or PPR scoring. I also have an opportunity to match your scoring system, rules, everything, all the way down to the last way to score. And I can put together a customized sheet just for that. I have the adjusted explosive index available. Weekly waiver wire pickups are available. And, of course, I have my daily fantasy stuff as well. So there's something for everybody. Just go to check out the site, Hall of Fame Fantasy Football, or that was in our group on Facebook, Winning Fantasy Football. Thanks again, Dan.
Absolutely, man. I look forward to talking with you soon, and be well.
All right, thanks.
That coming from Mr. Mike Sofka here, where sports meets that thing called life, and definitely appreciate having him here on the show with us as always. We'll take our final step aside of today's broadcast and wrap up the show, getting you ready for Thursday. It's going to be awesome. Thursday and Friday shows about to bring it, and I am very, very, very much looking forward to it. Inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, this is Wake Up Call, and here is your final fast break of today.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcall DT, as well as on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, all inside the Cafe Kubal studios. I want to thank Dante Coker for our first hour. I want to thank Mr. Mike Sofka for the Fantasy Football Power Hour, and of course thank the Wildcat, where you should head out to today to enjoy a drink, and as always drink responsibly, as well as some great food in a great place with great people. So make sure you find your way over to 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York today. With all of that being stated, I hope you have a fantastic day. Please stay safe and stay well. Papa Joe and I will be talking about Tim Tebow and all things Jacksonville going on down there post-draft. I'm very excited to talk with PJ about that. And, of course, we will get into, in the second hour, I'll be having a special opportunity there that I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to go to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to find out later today. Facebook at Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. And then, of course, on Friday, we will have the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead with Juanita Ward, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Our top dog of the week will be honored and announced by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And I will be featuring at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time a video chat with Gina Castelli following her announcement that she is retiring from the Lemoyne College Dolphins as the head coach of the team for the past 8 seasons. You do not want to miss the heartfelt conversation that we are going to have with Gina Castelli of her time at Lemoyne and just her as a person and everything on her journey. That is one for the ages, and I'm saving it for TGIF, so you'll have to watch it there. Also tonight, premiering on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT. Also shared on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT. The second episode of On the Clock with Doc, featuring Dr. Mark Petropoli and our first ever guest, Taryn Bader of My Encore PT, will air tonight, Wednesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on all those Facebook and YouTube channels. Once again, that will be airing tonight, Wednesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Taryn will join us, and she has an incredible message for women out there and for just people in general needing help and assistance. Dr. Petropoli, Taryn Bader, and myself have a trio conversation that you do not want to miss. I learned so much from it, and we're going to be able to share it with you tonight. So make sure you check that out tonight, May 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on our Facebook and YouTube channels. And in the meantime, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. God bless. No stress. Do your best. I'll talk to you soon.